So another aspect of providing a resilient private cloud is going to be the backup and disaster recovery strategy in the case of a catastrophic failure. And so just to point out that the molecule itself, the multiple nodes, provides a level of localized high availability in failover if one of the nodes goes down. But when we're talking about disaster recovery, we're talking about like losing the entire data center goes offline or something like that, and we need to shift all of our operations to a DR site. So our recommendation is to make a replica of the single logical cloud by mirroring that shared install directory. What is not recommended is to install a completely separate logical, quote-unquote, standby molecule and then attempt to reattach and redeploy all the process to that. That is simply not feasible in a multi-tenant environment with the number of accounts attached and number of processes and kind of a functional thing, but extension values per cloud and all. So the idea is to replicate the cloud directories, both the shared file system where the shared molecule directory is, and that's going to contain all the configuration, all of the account information, all of the configuration, and that can be replicated either real-time or periodically depending on what capabilities and tools you have in-house to an analogous DR site. One note is that there are a number of very small files, if that's a consideration in your tool evaluation. As far as the node application servers go, if you're using virtual machines, the ability to take snapshots and recover those or reinstantiate those is pretty simple. And just a reminder that those node servers don't contain any persistent data. All the history and the results is all in the shared file system. And then as far as the act of executing a failover procedure, ideally that DR site is an exact replica of production, even with respect to the host names of the machines or IP addresses, paths to Java, the file share amounts, that sort of thing. That's the ideal case. If inevitably there are differences and some host names need to be different or something like that, our reference guide contains a list of some of the config and property files that you might need to review and then modify accordingly. I wanted to point out that the failover to a DR site is a manual procedure. It's a considerable decision to do that. I mean, I'm kind of speaking beyond Boomi here, but just the failover operations to a DR site is kind of a manual step. As it relates to Boomi, you're going to shut down the current production node if it's still running at all, and then instantiate start up the node services on the DR site. You do not want to have them both running at the same time because technically or logically it's the exact same molecule as far as like our platform is concerned, and can do have some unexpected behaviors as the cloud thinks our platform thinks there's two copies of the same molecule. And of course, if you're publishing web services, there might be some firewall and load balancing considerations to move over as part of your standard DR procedures.